Okay, so I'm having a good voice day today as opposed to the other days recently. So I gotta talk about the things I want to talk about, and today we want to talk about bounties, Yonko, predictions, etc., etc. Now, I'm well aware that spoilers are out, and luckily I've been able to avoid any spoilers so far, but it's becoming more and more difficult. People are trying to spoil me in chat when I stream, etc., etc. I almost feel like it's inevitable. So now we're gonna talk about the possibilities coming up, future bounties, future Yonko, etc., etc. We've been in a very interesting place with Wano because we're not sure if Wano is over, if Wano definitely ends in the next chapter. Personally, it's difficult to see it happening, but with all the announcements and saying the final saga is going to start after the break, it feels like that's what's going to happen, but how, right? But either way, the most interesting thing people have been talking about is future bounties and then the upcoming Yonko. Now I want to clarify. We have to take into consideration not only what the person has accomplished, but territory, influence, impact, all this different stuff. However, new Yonko have been announced really sudden. I mean, I guess with the fall of Big Mom and Kaido, the world government, they would have to act pretty quickly, but considering what happened with Blackbeard, they took quite a bit before they announced Blackbeard as the next Yonko. For the most part, they don't necessarily pick the next Yonko. It's things that have to play out in a way that's beneficial to the balance, and they can endorse it or not, but big news has a lot to do with it, and based on what Apu is saying, it seems like he filtered out the information, and that could have a great impact on what comes. Having conversations with people, it could be that Apu filtered out the wrong information to even give himself a bump or to bump up people that probably don't deserve it. So we're gonna factor in all those things, and people have been spamming, saying it's foreshadowing after the last chapter, saying, look at this cover. It's Shanks, Buggy, Luffy, and Blackbeard. One Piece Volume 25. And this is scary for a bunch of reasons because I could see this happening, right? And this would be insane levels of foreshadowing, I think, if Buggy was indeed a Yonko. I remember probably 3-4 years ago, me and my boys were in a call talking about it and saying how Buggy became a warlord. Him becoming a Yonko is not far-fetched based on what it takes, right? Influence, you know, a bit of sleight of hand, and what people perceive you to be. I've made several videos on perception versus reality, so that's something I could see happening. However, I'm not going to factor in possible trolls. That's not something I can foresee, but I want to acknowledge that this is something that absolutely could happen based on how Oda does things. But I will give my reasonings for the people I think who are the current Yonko, and of course, some of it has some caveats because I think that's important, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna start with the obvious, subscribing to this channel, right? That's the main thing, yo. If you want to stay updated, right? And not be bored this entire month, because we're going to have features, we're going to have skits, we're going to have long discussions, we're going to have trivia, we're going to have a great time this month. And if your ass don't want to miss it, now is the time to buckle in, all right? Buckle in, drop a like, all that good stuff. But seriously, the obvious thing here is Shanks. Shanks is still a Yonko. There's no way that Shanks and Blackbeard, well, I guess the two obvious, Shanks and Blackbeard, those two have not clashed yet. There's no way. Oda would not skip at least a clash. I know. Oda likes saving things for the end. My niggas, we are at the end. There's nothing left to save. Now is the time to roll out the red carpet, and there's no better red carpet than red hair Shanks and Blackbeard, okay? And I think that's gonna be the interlude of the final arc. There's no way that's not the opening message, the opening conversation, the opening impact. So that has to happen. So therefore, Shanks and Blackbeard still to Yonko. Now, it gets tricky here because even though Luffy was proclaimed the 5th Yonko, so technically Yonko doesn't make sense anymore, can they go outside the parameters of what it takes to be a Yonko? Possibly, right? It wouldn't make sense, but I guess possibly it's possible, right? Whatever the hell that means. Shanks and Blackbeard definitely still Yonko. Oda's not gonna skip over their whole thing. The next person is obviously Luffy, right? Luffy is 100% solidified as a Yonko. He is somebody that you cannot deny anymore. I remember, guys, after Luffy was announced the 5th Yonko, I know. I was the guy that was like, hold your horses. This is not 100% confirmed because technically he was not acknowledged by his peers as yet. And even when we got to Wano, it confirmed my suspicions because Luffy wasn't acknowledged by Big Mom, wasn't acknowledged by Kaido. Kaido even said, what are you talking about? What type of pirate king you said you're gonna be? Gomu Gomu no what? Right? So Kaido didn't acknowledge him until the end, Gear 5th. And he had to die to achieve that. So I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I believe I was correct. Luffy was not solidified as a Yonko until now. He sent Kaido to the bottom of hell. Kaido could be dead for all we know. And Luffy is 100% one of the confirmed Yonko, for sure. So that's 3. 4th, this is where caveats come in. I know people are talking about Law and Kid, and I think they are definite candidates. Big Mom and Kaido fell. Law, Kid, and Luffy, they took them down. But here's the thing. In what conceivable way would it make sense for Trafalgar Law to be a Yonko with this fucked up crew that he has? You're telling me that Beppo is the right hand to a Yonko? No way. I refuse to believe it. I think Law has everything it takes to be a Yonko as a captain. I think he is someone that is strong enough, witty enough, smart enough, has the requisite skills to be a Yonko. What about territory? What about crew? What about influence? All that is lacking. So as much as I love Law, there's no way Beppo is going to be right hand of a Yonko. I don't see it. If he is, I'll take the L, but for Law, I'm sorry, I do not see it. John Bart being the third, get him out of here. Penguin, Sachi, get him out of here.
Get out! Okay, get out!
One of my theories I had in Wano was that Hawkins would probably join Law. That would be a devastating combo. If Hawkins and his crew join Law, maybe, but he might be dead. The 1% is gone now, all right? He might be gone. And so Law going into it, sorry, not a Yonko. Just, I don't believe it. Kid's chances, I think, is exponentially higher than Law, because I think based on how Oda has laid out his crew and the things that he's done, how he's clashed against different Yonko on his own, lost an arm, Shanks, he has it. Now, he's lacking territory himself. How can you justify Kid when we don't have any insight in regards to his territory? There were times going into post-time skip, we saw him killing people on different islands. There's no confirmation that those are his territory. How do you confirm a Yonko without even acknowledging that a territory belongs to him? An island, at least. So, while I think Kid has more of a chance than Law would because of his crew, Killer, I think, was impressive and his value and stock went up based on Roof Piece and how he handled himself. He probably killed Hawkins. And Oda made a point to highlight Heat and Wire. They didn't do anything, but he highlighted them. They have names. Even though they both have a great chance, I don't think they're Yonko. It just wouldn't make sense. The last person who I think could make sense here is none other than my boy, Charlotte Katakuri. But there's caveats. There are caveats. And that has to do with Big Mom and her status. If Big Mom is gone, she still has the territory. She has the resources. She has the crew. And the person who would be in charge, I would assume, is Katakuri. Now, the only issue I have with that prediction about Katakuri being one of the next Yonko is how long they waited to appoint Marco. Even though Marco was strong, right? He had a chance to beat Blackbeard and be the next one, but they waited till a significant matchup happened. Why did they wait? Marco had the territories. He had the crew. Of course, losing Whitebeard, Ace, Blackbeard, that does not sit well in regards to your power ranking. But for the Charlotte family, all they lost was Big Mom, seemingly. But the only thing is there might be some internal strife because Pedro, he feels like he could be a Yonko. He feels like, I'm the oldest, I should be the captain. But Katakuri, we know, is more than deserving based off of his competence and just his strength. Yes, Oda would have to give him an insane power-up to compete with the others, but I can see a situation in which this makes sense. Now, I'm leaving it open for someone out of the blue that Oda hasn't highlighted. Maybe an old gen, maybe a troll, maybe Oda throws Buggy in there, which I don't know. I don't want to believe that because I think it would make the Yonko position lose its value.
Correct.
To me. I mean, would it? I don't know. Either way, possibility. But right now, my final four is Luffy, Shanks, Blackbeard, and Katakuri. No chance of Law. No chance of Kid. The Buggy Troll, I guess. That's where I'm standing on with the future Yonko and where I think it goes. Now, bounties. You know what? I'm sorry, boys. We may have run out of time in regards to talking about bounties, but if you show this video some love, we'll have a bounty video up tomorrow. And we're going to predict not only the Straw Hat bounties, but also the Supernova bounties, right? Well, not all the Supernova because Drake, he's an op. And Hawkins, he's probably dead. So Kid and Law, and maybe a couple of crewmates because nobody cares about John Bart. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Give me your thoughts. Who are the future Yonko? If you've read the spoilers, fuck you. Do not spoil. I still love you, but don't spoil. Please. I want to enjoy this chapter. People tell me this chapter is amazing. It's the last chapter before the break. Show your boys some love, all right? But guys, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BrogwoodDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BrogwoodD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Again, guys, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite